Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. Yom Shlishi, the Parshas Korach. Shnas Tavshin Ayin Zayin. Shiva Tiferes Avigdor. In the rebellion of Korach, that's the subject, beginning of the Parsha, and the question is, Ezra Aaron and Rosh Hashanah, what is the Nakuda that drove Korach to make this rebellion? So Rashi quotes from a Chazal, Uma ro Korach lachloik imosh. What motivated Korach to start a machloikis and a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu? Chazal tell us, Niskane al nisiyusoi shel Elitzafan ben Uziel. He was jealous over the appointment of Elitzafan ben Uziel, Shemineu Moshe Nasi al Bnei Kohath. Moshe appointed Elitzafan over the Bnei Kohath al pi hadibur, based on the Hashem's directive. And Korach came along and said, Amar Korach, from the family of Moshe Aaron, the Achei Abba, and the brothers of my father, Arba, there were 4 sons. Shenemar, that the children of Kohath were Amram, Yitzhar, Chevron, and Uziel. Amram was the Bechor. His 2 sons, Moshe and Aaron, got a positions. Echad Melech, Echad Kohen Gadol. No, Mi Roy, who was fitting to get next. That's the next position was to be the Nasi over Bnei Korach. Lo Yani, not me. Shani ben Yitzhar, because I'm the Sheni la Amram. I'm the second. My father was the second son after Amram. And he goes. Not only does not do that, but Mina Nasi, he appoints for a Nasi as Ben Achiv, his cousin, Achiv Akot Mikulam, the brother who's younger than all them, Elitzafan and Uziel. That's it. Areini Chaylek Allah Mevatel is Dvar. So to put it in a nutshell, what drove Korach to be Chaylek al Moshe? What was the Nakuda? What was the Nakuda? Are you here? You have to start writing. If you're not writing, you're not getting it. That's the same thing in the morning. If you don't write, you don't get nothing. All chalaybus. What was the thing, Moshe? Jealousy. Niskane. He was jealous. Now this is very important. Now there are 2 sugyas in jealousy. First, we're going to share with you some tremendous chidushim in the midah of jealousy. The midah of jealousy is one of the most powerful forces that drives mankind. So many differences between husbands and wives, between Talmidim and Rabbeim, between Yidden and Rabbeinu Shalom, between one group and another group, is rooted in jealousy. We have to understand what exactly is the nature of jealousy. That's, Mirch Hashem, we're going to be today's subject. But before, we have to understand, what do we think generally that jealousy is? How would most people interpret jealousy? When is Reuven jealous of Shimon, Chaim? What would you say? When Reuven sees what? When Reuven sees that Shimon has something he doesn't have, that makes him jealous. But the Ramban means I want that thing that somebody else has. And the Ramban, one of the greatest minds, the Rishonim, explains that that's not what jealousy is, that somebody has something that I don't have. Ramban tells us a nerdik chiddush, Gabriel. He says there is a fundamental feeling within every person. It's miteva briyosai. This is the nature of the way he was created. He can't see himself equal to everybody else. A person needs to feel and to sense that he has something better than everybody else. It doesn't make a difference what. The ikar is, in some area, I have to feel I'm better than everybody else. It's very difficult for a person to see himself as being less than the other guy. Reuven can't see himself as being less worthy than Shimon. He can't even see himself as being equal to Shimon. His ego, which everyone has, you heard of ego? That drives a person to feel in some area, I have to feel I'm on top. When I see you have something that I don't have, the sense that bothers me is that I interpret that thing to be an indication that you're better than me. If I see you have a big pimple on your nose, I'm not jealous of that. Okay. That strengthens my jealousy. Do you know why? That's hooray, I'm better than you. You got the pimple, I don't. But if you have a nicer suit, or a nicer car, or a nicer house, or a nicer this, or nicer that, that's a tight shop as an indication that in some area you're better than me. A person has to feel like that. And I want to tell you, the Ramban has a nerdik chiddush. Ramban is in Parshas Kedoshim, and the pasuk of Ahavta l'reacha kamoich. And the Ramban says as follows: what is the directive? To love your fellow man like yourself. How could you love somebody like yourself? Note the Ramban says, hafloga. The Ramban says that's a hafloga. You know what that means, hafloga? It's an exaggeration. If anybody else would say that, but the Ramban, I think we would make hafganas, we put up signs not to read his Sfarim, not to listen to this person's mayors, but the Ramban told us that that's an exaggeration. He says, for a person to love somebody like himself, it's not true. How can I love you like myself? And he explains why. He first says a svara, and then he says a raya from Allah. He says, Ki lo yikabel leiv ha'adam, the heart of a man, the das, the mind of a person, cannot possibly accept sheyeh hoiv eis chaveroi, that he should love his chaver ka'avoso yesnavshay, like he loves himself. You can't say that Hashem should demand of a person to do something which is neged hateva, and it's rachik me'ametzias. It's not shaykh. If the Ramban says, the Ramban knew the Torah, he knew what the metzias of a mensch was. He was a makubal, he was a bal nigel and bal nister, et fashtane mention. And the Ramban says, a person's mind can't be makabel that I should love you like myself. Sorry to disappoint you. That's why when I saw this Ramban, I have no disappointments anymore. I don't expect anybody. Before that, I was looking for love from all the places, and I never found it. I saw this Ramban, I said, oh, you're never going to find someone who's going to love you like he loves himself. In the bench's complicated. A person could like you. A person could even love you a little bit, but not as much as himself. Then he says, V'oit. I'll show you from the halacha, it's not like that. It says in the halacha, Rabbi Kiva came along and taught, that's the halacha. Chayecha koidmin l'chaye chavercha. Your life takes precedent to the life of your friend. What's the case? We're going in the midbar, and we have 1 cup of water. And it's either me or it's you. Or if you're the lucky guy with the cup of water, it's you or me. No, if the halacha would be Zak the Ramban, you gotta love somebody else like you love yourself. No, you should have to give your friend the water. Because you have a chiyuv to love that guy like you love yourself. And the halacha is like Rabbi Akiva, it says, you say to the guy, Toots, I'm sorry, chayecha koy. Give me a sip, give me half the cup. My friend, if you can give you half the cup, we're both going to drop. We're both going to die. 1 cup, I can make it 24 hours at a desert. No? So Dr. Ramban, from the halacha, it's muchach that the Torah never demanded from you, you should be doyeg for your friend. And feel for your friend, love like yourself. B'diyuk k'moicha, there's no such thing. So now the Ramban is faced with a quandary. So what is the mitzvah of a havta l'reach k'moicha? So the Ramban says like this. He says, let's be medayik in the pasuk. It doesn't say in the pasuk ve'ohavta es re'acha kamoich. It says ve'ohavta li re'acha kamoich. Doesn't say es chaveirach. You have to love your friend. Like it says, you should show ava li re'acha kamoich. Quotes another pasuk, but it says by a ger ve'ohavta li kamoich. Now, what does that mean? What's the difference? If I say v'ahavta loy, v'ahavta lireyacha kamoich, he says the mitzvah is lahashvois avas shneihem b'daita. You're supposed to equate the love of yourself and the other person in your mind. How does that work, he says? Ki pa'amim rabim, he says many times, sheyoyav odom es chaveiroi, a guy likes his friend, bidvorim yoduim. For example, he says, I'm happy that you should be rich, but I'm not happy you should be a Talmud Chacham also. I don't want you to be the Chacham. Or you can be a Chacham, but don't be rich. So he says, what Hashem wants you to do is to be oy havoy bakoy. Yachboitz, you should desire, he says, sheyizke re'ehu ohuv loy va'oysher v'nechosim v'kavoid uvidas uvechachma. Yeah? Yeah, what does that mean to say? What? So he says, sometimes a person could love somebody else. I'm happy he's Talmud Chacham. I'm happy he has covet. But I don't want him to be taiva in all inyan. He says the first thing you're supposed to do is if you love the person, you would be happy for him if he had taiva in all inyan. Yeah? Means if you love the person, ahava b'koil, you would want him to have all the taiva. However, there's one little exception. You know what the exception is? The loy sheyish be'elav. He shouldn't be equal to me. Because if you don't love a guy, you don't want him to have taiva. If you love a guy a little bit, you want him to have taiva in some areas, not in other areas. If you love a guy a lot, you want him to have taiva in all areas. So long as he's not mekabel the taiva in the same form and fashion that you're mekabel the taiva. We can't have what's called equality. We can't be equal. In America, they may have said everybody's created equal. But in everybody's mind, he thinks, my equal is not the same as your equal. Yeah, he says that. So he says, Avol yeh chofetz beliboy la'olam. A person wants you. The mitzvah of Ahavta l'reich kamoich is HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants a person that the other person should have as much good as he can have, even if it's going to be yoser mimenu, but more than me. That's the ultimate for Ahavta l'reich kamoich. The Tzaveh HaKos, if you want to know what the Tzivoy is, the Tzivoy is Shaloitia Pchisus Hakino Hazois Beliboy. You should not have see, there's one level. The Ramban is not talking about the type of kinna you find in Musas for him. There are some types of kinna where a person demands that your existence in the world bothers me. So no, we're not talking about that's really a terrible thing. So we're talking about a guy who has milas, and I could see the guy has a mila, and I'm acknowledging he has a mila, and I'm happy that he has a mila, but I don't want it to be a big baal mila. That's bad. That's a no-go. You have to want for yenim to be a baal mila in all inyanim. But then a person might think to himself, okay, He can be a Baal Maila, but I don't want him to be the Baal Maila like I am. I want him to be lower than I am. He said the mitzvah of Ahavta l'reacha kamoicha is that you should remove from yourself the pchisus. Pchisus means the weakness, the lowliness, the bad midas of kina hazois beliba. What? But you should want for your friend as much taiva as he can have. V'lo yitein shiurin ba'ava. You shouldn't give any shiurin ba'ava. That means to say like this: in spite of the fact that I like ashiras, I have to be able to fagin you to be an ashir also. A person likes kavod, I fagin you to have kavod also. Now, a person has to go through his mind to think where he's holding. When he sees another person, does he fagin him at all? Is he willing to accept that person's successful existence at all in anything? Some people can't accept somebody else's existence. Some people could accept somebody's existence, but they always have to feel I'm better than him. So the Ramban tells us that the Torah is commanding us that you shouldn't have the pchisus hakina beliba. The mitzvah of ahavta l'reacha kamoicha is that a person should remove this shlechte midah of kina from his heart. You have to want that I'd be happy for that person, that he should have the best of everything. And the more that a person works on that, now you have to realize that this is a very difficult process. The fact that every person has an ego and it makes him feel like a somebody. He wants to feel better than a somebody. He wants to feel better than, and he always has to feel I'm better than the other person in certain areas. You can have people, I've seen people who are close to Gedolei Olam, and if you ask them about them, they'll tell you about it. But they'll always like to, there's one area where I contribute to him. Instead of me being mishamish to him, there's one thing that I can do better than he can do. Maybe misader things, take care of things, organize things. I may be good at raising funds. I'm good at putting out publication, the notices, whatever it is. The person always feels, he has to feel that he's an Elyon. He has to feel he is alone. Now the Ramban gives us a very tall order. He says any time that you're going to be thinking about in your life, anytime you're going to sit there and think that, by nature, I want to be better than everybody else. By nature, even if I'm willing to acknowledge that there are other people who have certain things that I don't have, but I have certain things they don't have. In some ways, I'm better than them. Ramban says, the avodah of ahavta l'reacha kamoicha is to remove those feelings of jealousy, to diminish a person's ego. Now that could take an entire lifetime. And because of that, know what happens? Most people don't even begin to do this. You don't begin to do it. And some people maybe never graduate from this course of kinna. Never. They're going to always experience. But the question is, do you work on it? When you see somebody have something, do you accept the reality and say, I'm happy for that person that he's Torah ugedula b'mochem echad. That's how it is. Amol you see a rich balabas, you say, he's not Moritz. Amol you see a big Talmud Chacham, yeah, but he's a schnorrer. It has to be some, that's how the game goes. So the Torah says, remove, when it comes to relating to other people, the more you're going to lower your jealousy, and you're going to feel less superior to him. You have to know you're approaching the matziv of Ahavta l'reach kamoich. Now, you know what that means? I have to accept the reality. I'm not making you rich. I'm not making you covet. I'm not making you have a chachma. Hashem grants you chachma. Hashem grants you ashiras. Hashem gives a person covet. Hashem gives a person everything. The question is, can I come to term with that mitzvah? That's the question. So v'ahavta l'reach kamoich is to accept that yenim, that person who has tremendous keiches, a lot of keiches, to accept that he may have keiches as good as myself, or maybe he has better than me. That's called removing the kinna. So step one is, if the person has what you have, saying the fact that he has it, it doesn't detract from me. I don't need, even though I have a drive to feel superior, I'm going to remove that kinna from myself. And even if I have a drive to say, yes, he's also good like me, but I'm better than him, I'm going to remove that need for that ego from myself. And if the person has more than me or has a lot of things, then I'm going to accept it and deal with it. That's called v'ahavta l'reach kamoich. As opposed, no, different scenarios that a person faces in his life. Now, Ramban brings an example of someone who graduated v'ahavta l'reach kamoich. Means an example. You know what that example was, Shimon? You know somebody who is the example in history of Klal Yisroel to somebody who reached v'ahavta l'reach kamoich. It says, Ramban says, it was reflected, it was misbate by Yonasan b'David. And by Yonasan b'David, he quotes the pasuk that says, Ki avos nafshoy ahevoy. Yonasan loved David avos nefesh. So the Ramban says, why is that? Because he removed the midah of kinna from his mind, and he said about David, "Va'atot timloich al Yisroel." What was the case over there? What was the story over there? Shaul, who was Yonasan's father, wanted to kill David. You know who saved his life? Yonasan. Now, what did Yonasan know was going to happen if he's going to save David's life? You know what it was going to do to him? It was going to cause that he should not be the melech. Even though he wanted to be the melech. Terrible. He saved David. You know why he saved him? Ki avas nafshoy ahevoi. Yonasan was aware of the fact that Shmuel anointed David to be the melech. And he accepted that, even though he wanted to be the melech. But the fact that the Metzias was, it wasn't David wanted and he wanted. Hashem chose David to be the melech. And that's why he saved him. He said, V'atot himloich al Yisroel. Means he saved him in spite of the fact that he knew that he would not be an equal of his. He saved him in spite of the fact that he knew he would be better than him. He accepted this, that David is going to be the melech. And he saved him. That's called Avas Nefesh. That's called the Matzav. The Ramban says, Yonasan, to do this act of Ava to David, he had to remove all the kinna, all the jealousy, all the superiority that a human being wants to have and needs to feel. And he was willing to come to terms with the fact that David's going to be the Melech Yisrael. And he saved him. He could have said, very easily, you know what he could have said? Oh, David, my good friend, I love you, but you're a Merid b'Melech. My father's the Melech. You're a Merid b'Malchus. And my father paskin than you. Can you imagine? I'm thinking to myself, the Brisker Rav's child. Brisker Rav paskin, ad yena hot adin for a Merid b'Melech, and the Brisker Rav himself is going to kill that person. And it's Ben HaBechor, that follows the Tate, and out with the Tate Zog. Tate Zog does, Tate Zog does, Tate Zog does. And now he sees, the Brisker Rav says, I'm going to take over the Rabbanis, and this other guy wants the Rabbanis. I'm going to save him. I have a way out. He had an easier way out over here. He's going to say, I'm sorry, I love you. Oh, my heart, I love you. And people say that, I love you, oh, my heart, but goodbye. I got to take you out. Halachically, up it didn't take it. No. He took away all the kinna from his heart. Any act of kinna, any feeling of kinna. And he said, you know what? If that's Hashem appointed you, anointed you, it's got to be, I accept the reality. Even though l'chayra, I could control that reality, I could take your life out, I don't have to help you. Yeah, it doesn't say that Yonasan made David the Melech. What he did was he accepted it as a fact, and he was misgaber on the Metzias, and he came to terms with his jealousy. So any time you have a feeling of jealousy towards somebody else, so for example, let's say somebody has another chayfetz, a nice car, and you think because he has a nicer car, that makes him more superior to me. He could schwitz more than me. That guy has a nicer tie, so he's going to come to shul, and everybody's going to look at his tie and touch his tie and feel his tie. They're going to be mashmish like some kind of who knows what. And here's a guy gets a second-hand pair of shoes. But it's a pair of shoes no one else has. So he wants to bring it to work. He wants to bring it to shul to show the Eilam. Look at the shoes I have. What's the feeling? The feeling is I have to feel a little superior. I want to show you, look how I'm superior to you. I have something that you don't have. So another person that sees that has to say this. If Hashem gave it to you, so it's yours. It wasn't destined for me, it's destined for you. And I accept that. No one has ever said this. that the whole mitzvah of after kamaych is nuke your kinna, nuke your jealousy. The mitzvah of after kamaych is work on your jealousy, Dr. Rambam. Take away from your fact that I need to feel Elyoy. But it doesn't mean that if I have a cup of water in the desert, I have to give you the cup and not myself. It doesn't say that if I have a nice car and Hashem gave me a nice car, that I should give you the car. It's not what a b'haf l'recha kamecha. Zeh ha'floga. It's not shaykh for a person to do that. Hashem didn't expect Ruvain, the Pashut, give away everything he has to Shimon to make Shimon feel good. No. But Hashem expected you to remove from your thing the kiddah from your heart. And you have a kiddah. If you deny it, there are some people who try to deny kiddah. No, I'm not the jealous type. I once told somebody, I know one thing about you. First, you're definitely the big lying type. Absolute liar. There's no such a thing. Every person is the jealous type. You want to know to what degree of jealousy? There's degrees. Rabbi Yerucham says a Pellet Gazak. He says, and I appreciate, I'm going to say this over in the yeshiva, Rabbi Yerucham said, and I'm thankful that you're not going to bombard me with tomatoes. He said, if a person goes to another person without thinking, that person gets engaged, and you're not engaged, and you go to give the guy the good news and tell him, Mazel Tov, I'm engaged, and the guy tells you Mazel Tov. If the guy didn't work on himself, you know what he means? Mazel Ra. You should have bad luck, and I hope your shidduch breaks up tomorrow, and I hope you come to me, you pour your heart out to me, I'm going to say, come here, let me hold you, let me build you up, and every build the guy up, you're going to feel like $1 million. You know why? Because you show the guy, you see him a failure, and I'm superior to you. Yesterday you were superior, but today the seesaw, you got down. He said, if you don't, he said, that's if you're a person who needs a shidduch. And if you don't need a shidduch, and a guy comes to you and tell you, Mazel Tov, shidduch, you say Mazel Tov, you know what you mean? I could care less what happened to you, David. It's gate minished on, I couldn't care, this whole baloney, I'm not dead. He said they're just saying the words. They either mean mazel garnished or they mean mazel ra. You know what Yerucham said? And Yerucham knew human beings. He knew psychology. I always say I had this experience when I was in Lakewood. So every night they used to come by the supper table, and somebody would announce he's a chassid. And his table where he sat and ate, they would give him a yossis. They would yossis him, and you saw everybody from the other table would look over. Who got engaged? You could feel, and you feel, who did he get engaged to? Money there, this there, yofi, money, chashivas, what's there? And everyone's done the stab in the heart. And the other tables didn't used to sing yossis. That table, now I used to sit at a table with Chassidish fellas from Williamsburg. I had no shaykhs to their lifestyle and their culture. I ate on their table because they kept a certain level of kashrus that I was interested in keeping. And it was easier in that table. And I got to know the girl, I didn't become friendly with anyone. I remember one night, one guy got a yossis on the table. And I remember it bothered me to no end that it bothered me. Of course I yossis along with the yossis. I'm thinking, what in the world does it bother me? I wouldn't go out if it was the last girl in the world. I don't think I'd go out as that girl. We have no shaykhis. We have no similar shivyon. There's no equality. We don't think the same. We don't eat the same. We don't live the same. Of course, we're both Jews. But we have no shaykh to each other. Different minhagim in every area of life. What did the guy do for me? And it bothered me. And I called my Zayda. Zayda, I'm embarrassed. It was like I felt embarrassed. That's when I saw P'chis Sakin. And the pshat wasn't. It took me a long time to understand that it wasn't the pshat that the guy felt the guy took my wife. No. But the fact that he got engaged first, and that means to say maybe he's superior to me. I did never tzibrach in the kelim. Those chassidim at my table with tzibrach in the kelim. You know why? Because the chassidim sure they got married real young. By 19, they're all in keil. By 19, by 20, they already go to work afterwards. They already have ice keil. And these guys were 20 years old, 21, and they were sitting there never cratching their cup. My and Yavi Ezri, when they're going to get engaged, who's going to want to marry them? And they finally got shidduchim, and that's how they felt. It's a feeling of a P'chis Sakinah. You feel superior. I remember when I got engaged, a guy came over to me, I'll never forget till today, but I understood him. He said, "How dare you?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "How dare you get engaged?" I said, "What did I do wrong?" He said, "You just came to the yeshiva this man. A month and a half into this man, you get engaged? What kind of business is that?" I said, "I didn't plan it. It just happened. I'm sorry." I said, "No, sorry. You know how long I'm sitting here?" The guy told me, "Korach." I said, "It's the wrong guy. You think you're better than me?" That's what he was thinking. That's the P'chis Sakinah. And it's every day, every supper, it's an Avigdor. It's an Avigdor, mamish. And that's called V'ahavta l'recha kamecha. Get rid of the kinah. Is she rich? Baruch Hashem for you. She yoifi? Baruch Hashem for you. I'm yuchis? Baruch Hashem for you. But you would see us. And she goes, I hope you're going to go have a baby bias and be so with your wife. I hope you're fine. That's what a person has to understand. Kinah is, when it says, the Gemara says, V'ahavta l'recha kamecha zeh klal gadol b'Torah, that's the klal gadol. It's not to love your fellow man. That's what everybody says, love your fellow man. No. Man says it's removing the P'chis Sakinah. Removing that grubkeit, removing the jealousy, the feeling that I have to be superior. I have to feel I have something better than you. I'm not equal to you. That's what a person does. That's the SHLITA of the Ramban. The Rambam argues, Rambam has different SHLITA. Today we're learning the SHLITA of the Ramban as an introduction to get to understand, because everybody always says when it comes to Ruchnius, we say Kinah Sefer Tarbachav, and it's not true. It does, but people think you should be jealous. Over there you're allowed to be jealous. But over there the Torah doesn't care about the P'chis Sakinah. That we shall explain tomorrow, how you have kosher Kinah and how there's treifa Kinah even in Ruchnius. And that's what Korach's mistake was. He was jealous even in the area of Ruchnius.